have gone on to be heavyweight champions. Of course, 4 of those 7 did not win Olympic heavyweight titles. Muhammad Ali, Floyd Patterson, and both the Spinks brothers. And of course, one thing that Tyrell Biggs is going to have to think about it. Serious cut that he suffered against David Bay, and you can see over the left eye, took 37 stitches to close that, and there on the right of your screen is the scar tissue that was left from that.
I'll say this, however, if he gets hit with right hands there, it isn't the cut he's going to have to worry about.
That is a valid point. You know, we talked about the fact, and Larry alluded to it, that he has been criticized in several of his most recent fights, and yet people are really giving him a legitimate chance. Just to kind of go back and tell you a little bit, when he fought Rod Smith, that was the first fight he had after he broke his collarbone against Sims. He said that he was a little bit tentative and he didn't really use the right hand in that fight. Then he fought Marcel Davis, that's the gentleman that I mentioned at 254 pounds, who really offered no resistance, and he said that his bombs were more dud than they were dynamite.
Biggs has been trying to make the transition from an amateur to a professional, to being more aggressive. And in so doing, he's been catching punches. The question is whether he can find out who he is and fight the fight who he is. And that best fight might be fighting as an amateur, sticking and moving, floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee.
And he also came in with a jacket reminiscent of my partner here, Sugar Ray Leonard, something new in the sport of boxing. Speaking of Sugar Ray Leonard, we have always tried to give you a little bit of an insight, just things to look for in every fight as we go along on this HBO, particularly through the heavyweight series, and in fact in every fight. And right now, let's take a look at Ray Leonard's tip of the night. What to look for from each of these men tonight, Ray?
Well, it should be a classic confrontation, Barry, with the boxer against the puncher. Well, actually, Tyson is the puncher, who be the aggressor, but he must be patient because he has a tendency with his crouching style to be susceptible to the uppercut. Here gets Tony Tucker, there, the uppercut land, and that's the punch that Biggs has been working on in the gym. Another mistake that Tyson makes, he tries to load up with one punch. That would not work against a guy like Biggs, who gives you a lot of angles, good upper body movement. And here against Ronaldo Snipes, good body movement. And watch this combination here, Barry. On and over, to raise the chin, and then to follow up with a clean right hand. I've been very impressed with this particular combination. A beautiful combination thrown by Biggs. Biggs can't afford to stand toe-to-toe. Here against David Bay, he was prone to be hit with combinations and also prone to cuts. That right hand by David Bay cut him. So he must give lateral positions and angles to be effective against Mike Tyson.
2 things, though, that he didn't do, and just to go back to those little snatches that you saw against Ronaldo Snipes, as you saw, he had him down in the 4th round, but he didn't follow up. Snipes was done, and Biggs couldn't put him away. And then against David Bay, he hit him consistently, but until he was cut, he really didn't go after David Bay.
For both fighters, I don't think it's going to be necessarily one punch, although Tyson is an exception, but it's going to be combinations to be effective.
And I go back to the old thing of, can you make Pete Rose into Babe Ruth? Can you make this guy into a banger?
It depends on the size of the bet.
Speaking of that, the odds in my last call to Las Vegas turned out to be about 7.5 to 1 in favor of Tyson, down from around 11 to 1 earlier in the week. Tyson is a slight favorite to stop the fight, end it before the end of the 6th round.
And a little bit of a waiting game going on now, and it's really quieted the crowd, too. The crowd was right into this fight, right from the very beginning. It is a capacity crowd of about 12,000. You can see many of them, everybody on their feet here. Right now, it's kind of a waiting game, and that is Mike Tyson making Tyrell Biggs wait, and both fighters making the crowd wait. And they're starting to get the first glimpse now of Mike Tyson, and Tyson, we understand, is going to run into the ring. And here comes Mike Tyson now, and as usual, he is all business, draped in the 3 belts that he now owns.
Well, as Mills Lane, the referee from Nevada, says, Mike Tyson surely looks like he's saying, let's get it on.
He was telling us the other day that there's an expression on the streets where he was raised that say, you got to bring it to get it. And that's exactly his philosophy.
It means that you can't win at the tables with your hands in your pockets. And you can't win in here unless you take some shots, take some risks.
You know, he quotes Joe Frazier, actually, as he comes into the ring when people criticize his height, that he's too small, and he says Frazier believed he was big enough to get the job done, and that's all that counts. Mike Tyson, of course, 31-0, 27 knockouts.
Until he won the title, actually, he hadn't fought anybody more impressive than Biggs has fought to this point. Since that time, Tyson has fought a better class of fighter than Biggs has.
And the crowd, again, still very much into this. 5 years difference. Mike Tyson is younger than Biggs, even though he's had 31 fights to Biggs' 15.
Yeah, Barry, and Tyson, interestingly, came in a few pounds less than he has recently. Obviously, he wants to be able to keep up with the guy who's the boxer. And Biggs came in bulked up by a few pounds. Obviously, he wants to be strong for Tyson. What it means is they're both ready. And here is our punch stat, our statistical profile of the fighters. Tyson's last fight against Tucker, you see how many punches he threw. He throws fewer punches than Biggs, but of course he throws more meaningful ones. Against Tillis, Tyson's most difficult fight before he became champion, he threw fewer punches than Biggs did and landed fewer, but Tyson is a lot different fighter now than he was then. And in the jabs, as you might suspect, Biggs throws more of them than Tyson, but Tyson showed in his last fight against Tucker that he can use the jab effectively.
And the rules tonight will come under the IBF jurisdiction. They will rotate that, incidentally, in a case where there is an undisputed champion. 10-point must system, 3 judges score the fight. There will not be a standing 8 count. No surprises here. The fighter can be saved by the bell only in the last round, and the 3 knockdown rule has been waived. Right now, we'll go up to the ring announcer, Michael Buffer, for the pre-fight introductions. Michael?
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please, before we get started. Recently, a great friend of boxing passed away. At this time, in a tribute to one of sports and boxing's finest journalists, would everyone please rise for silence as timekeeper Roosevelt Gilbert tolls the final count of 10 for the late Dick Young. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the featured bout of the evening. It's a presentation of Don King Productions and the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, along with Budweiser. This bout is sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board Commissioner Larry Hazard, Deputy Commissioners Nick DiBallestreri and Lawrence Wallace. The chairman is Jerry Gormley. Representing the International Boxing Federation is its president, Robert W. Lee. The championship committee chairman is here, Bill Brennan. Representing the World Boxing Association, Dr. Keith Arthur and Dr. Elias Cordova. Here for the World Boxing Council is James J. Binns, Esquire. The 3 judges doing all the scoring tonight are Al Walensky, John Stewart, and Frank D. Brunette. The timekeeper, Roosevelt Gilbert. Counting for the knockdown seconds, Rudy Battle. Chief ringside physician, Dr. Frank B. Doggett. Also in attendance, Dr. Stanley Eden and Dr. Paul Williams. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble from the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino by way of Convention Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. 15 rounds for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. A referee for this bout is Tony Orlando. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the white trunks and weighs 228 3/4 pounds. He's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. this Olympic gold medal champion has 15 consecutive victories, 10 by knockout. Introducing the #1 challenger in the world, Tyrell Biggs. Fighting out of the red corner, wearing the solid black trunks, he weighs 216 pounds. From Catskill, New York, 27 of his 31 unblemished victories are by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated, undisputed, heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
Gentlemen, you received your instructions prior to coming to the ring. Therefore, I expect a good, clean bout. Do you have any questions? Touch gloves, go back to your corner. Good luck.
Barry and Ray, I wouldn't be surprised if this fight lasted a minute or an hour.
I feel exactly the same way. It's one of those fights you really don't know. I believe in the opinions of many of the people who feel that Tyrell Biggs can win the fight. I don't happen to be of that school, but you just don't know.
Expect Tyson to jump right on Tyrell Biggs.
3 questions that Mike Tyson really has to answer. Can he cope with a clever boxer? Can he survive a heavy puncher? And can he persevere when he's hurt?
You notice right from the start, Tyson is applying the pressure, trying to slow his man down. I'm seeing more jabs from Mike Tyson than I've seen in the past. I see a lot of movement on the part of Tyrell Biggs. Good lateral movement. Those hands should be up a little higher because, again, the hand speed of Mike Tyson is very good.
You have said that Biggs has to go side to side to win the fight, Ray.
Go side to side, give your man angles, throw the jab like he's doing now, not to let Tyson set up.
Tyson also said that he has found a pattern in Tyrell Biggs that he feints to the right before the punch actually is thrown.
Well, whatever he does, the fact that Tyson has to set up to get that kind of leverage. See, a good snapping jab is very effective. Whether or not Biggs can keep this up is yet to be seen. It's not time to be pretty in here, it's just time to frustrate this man. And that's what they want from Biggs. Good, consistent jab.
And along the lines of patterns, Biggs feels that Tyson actually bobs in a pattern 4 times, and then he comes up with his head.
See, wait, now here, you saw how Tyson walks in with that crouching style to deliver a shot. He's trying for the head. Now we're seeing head hunting from Mike Tyson. He can't get into that.
That was a good shot by Tyson.
Get off the ropes, tie your man up. That's the way. Get him back into the center ring. Use the jab again. And come with that right hand.
That was a quick little overhand right by Tyrell Biggs.
Biggs now is talking to Tyson. Again, Barry, he's trying to frustrate him. But I don't like his hands down that low. I don't like Biggs' hands down so low.
Step back. No point. Step back.
Because Tyson throws those looping right hands and left hooks.
Keep him up, Mike. Keep him up.
Body shot by Tyson. Teofilo Stevenson, and I admit it was 5 years ago, but he really bothered me.
There's the hook. Again, because his hands are down. He's moving right, but he keeps his hands down too low. Tyson has very quick hands for a big man.
Stevenson beat Biggs by going to the body, broke 3 ribs, as a matter of fact. A lot of water under the bridge since then. They're going to have to fix Tyson's equipment here in just a moment as it has come loose.
Biggs is starting to become a stationary target, which is wrong.
Right hand by
Bad
Tyson.
move.
A little bit of blood inside the mouth of Tyrell Biggs.
I don't know if Biggs can fight a perfect fight, but he fought about as perfect a round as he could have hoped for to start this fight. There you see our punch stat, which tells you that Tyson is not effective with the jab, and of course Tyrell Biggs was very effective with it.
I was showing you. Let the hook pull you around. Let it pull you around with 2 or 3 hooks. Then stop. And hook and throw the right up. You got me coming? Now your hands are open your lip. Now your hands are clean. All right, second.
And as Punch Stat showed or confirmed, that was a very good round using the left hand as well as he can. That is exactly what Biggs must do to stay in this fight. Can Tyson neutralize the jab?
You see, Biggs was doing great the first 2 minutes of the first round, keeping that jab consistent, moving lateral, giving angles. But then the last maybe 45 seconds of the round, Barry, he stopped, became stationary target, the hands again, which I think is a major mistake because of Tyson's hand speed. And Tyson throws his punch. He loops his right hand, he loops his hook, and Biggs could be asking for a few problems.
And the thing that strikes me, actually, is Biggs did have a round and did fight according to his fight plan, but he still took some strong shots from Tyson.
But see, now Biggs again, Barry, is starting to stand there and exchange toe-to-toe, like I said earlier. You can't do that. Tyson's punches come so fast with so much velocity behind them. It's devastating.
Biggs has shown a tendency, actually, throughout his career, and especially later in his career, most recently, to get in there occasionally and want to slug it out when he's been stunned. And that could be suicide.
And the way that Biggs is moving to his right, that's wrong because of the hook of Mike Tyson. He'll run right to the left hook.
Two hands, punch out. Let him go, let him go. Let him go in there, Sean. Let him go, come on. Come on, let him go. Hey, Frank, step back.
What I was expecting from Biggs, and in fact, they told me this, that he's been working this in the gym, was the uppercuts, the jab to go through Tyson's defense. I have not seen that yet.
And the game plan was for Biggs rather to move to his left. Now he's been moving to his right, and as you said, he's been getting himself in a little trouble when he does so.
Tyson's driven some tremendous shots to the body, and that's going to help bring those hands down even lower.
Remember, Stevenson broke 3 ribs of Tyrell Biggs.
I'm looking for a left hook, Barry. I really am, because look at the right hand of Tyrell Biggs. That's the uppercut, but you got to come back with the right hand. The uppercut raises the chin of a guy who crouches in, and the right hand does the most damage.
There was a big right hand, best punch of the fight.
That was the left hook, Barry. That was the left hook I was talking about. Now, if Biggs should make it back to his corner, I'm sure Georgie Benson will say, keep those hands high.
Right, left, I'll get it right.
Right, left. But the fact of the matter is, the right hand's down, the left hook has been scoring. And it rocked Biggs.
As Michael Tyson said before this fight, everybody has a plan until they're hit.
Just a little bit more coming in, a little bit more jab. You start that round real good, then you slow down with the jab. You hurt me with that hook. You understand me? I want to see the 5-1 now. 7 coming in. Once again, it goes 5-1. It goes 5-5-1. You understand? Take a little spring back and put a little twist in there. Take a little twist.
And here is Tyson's most effective punch. Biggs has been on his flat-footed more in this round than he was in the first round. Got nailed with the left hook. He has shown in the past that he takes a good punch. You don't want to take too many from Tyson.
But now look, come on. This guy will slow down. Now just weather the storm for another round. You understand? Come on, if I got you. They didn't do much more than you.
So Kevin Rooney wants Mike Tyson to jab a little bit more. Biggs starts the 3rd round backing up a little bit.
Good stiff jab by Mike Tyson. Tyson will constantly apply pressure to Biggs. Keep working his body and working the jab like Kevin Rooney stated. People don't realize this, and I learned this from Andrew Dundee. It's not about how long your jab is. The fact that you have a jab, use it. That offsets someone else's jab. because his right hand is down. Let me show you what Tyson does when he delivers that left hook. He takes 1-2 steps in, dips, and puts his whole body, all his weight behind the punch. A lot of leverage. 1-2. You see it. Steps in. So you have to time it. You have to time his movement. 1-2. Again, same thing. 1-2. And he throws it.
That was a little short left hand that did get in. Body shot with the left hand. And now the cut over the left eye, and it's pretty bad.
It's the same eye, the same cut.
And another big left hand, and Biggs is hurt. Now he gets out of there. A lot of blood from the left eye of Tyrell Biggs.
That's the same thing probably happened with David Bay, standing toe-to-toe. It's a terrible mistake.
That's something you pointed out before the fight. And now it's Tyson just hammering him.
That's a nasty cut. The blood is seeping to the eye. This will require a lot of work in the corner of Tyrell Biggs to stop that bleeding.
The cut is right above the eye. It's exactly in the same place as the last one.
Biggs, I don't know what happened. All that gym work has gone down the drain because he's not boxing. He's not using his tools. He's trying to outmuscle Mike Tyson, which is not his fight plan.
And there was a huge left hand.
They may stop it. That's a nasty cut.
And I don't think I have to tell you what a finisher Mike Tyson is.
The pressure, the relentless pressure of Tyson takes its toll.
That's a big round.
Hold us there, hold us there.
Wait a minute, don't put it in the air. Let me
There you see that cut against that he absorbed against Tyrell, against David Bay, and here it is right now being worked on. That was a 32-stitch gash that he suffered from Bay.
Now you see how your gas is coming? You see.
Now let's see if we can catch it as it happens. That's the punch that apparently sliced Bay open. Excuse me, Tyrell Biggs open.
Come on, let me say the drink.
It's the same right hand, Larry, that was thrown by David Bay.
Let's remember that Biggs has fought his best when he's been in trouble.
But I think it's fair to say that he's not in there against David Bay tonight. Right hand body shot and the left hand behind it by Tyson.
Mike Tyson is not just loaded up with one punch. He's trying to put his punches together. He's trying to put together combinations. A mistake he made with Tony Tucker.
Tyson Ray, to me, seems to be a little bit more patient tonight.
Yes, in fact, he is a little more composed, picking his shots. But again, I don't know why they don't pick it up in Biggs' corner the way Tyson steps in and leaves his chin so vulnerable. The way I see it now, Mike Tyson has made Biggs fight his fight.
So far, the cut has not been any worse. And remember, it was a pretty good job done by Ace Murata as cut man in a fight with David Bay. But again, Tyson just putting all the pressure on him, having it his way.
Didn't seem like much. It was a good short uppercut by Mike Tyson. A little more body movement from Tyrell Biggs now. Start throwing some uppercuts.
He took a big left hand there. And another.
The cut is reopened again.
Step back. Let him go. Step back, please. Step back. All right, Frank. Step back. No punches, no punches. Step him back. Watch your head, Mike. Watch your head, okay?
How does it happen, Ray, that a fighter like Biggs in this case tonight will go into a fight with a game plan, and almost from the opening bell, he'll just let that game plan go away?
It's all concentration. You got to stick to something that's working for you. And what I see in Tyson sticks to his game plan. He works the body with that right hand. He drills a hard right hand to the body and comes up with a good left hook.
But Biggs is doing almost everything exactly the opposite of what he said he was going to do. Huge left hand there by Tyson. And a combination by Tyson, a left and a right behind it.
Let him go.
Getting to be a mismatch.
Right now, Tyson looks like he's rolling in like the tide from the Atlantic Ocean a few steps from Convention Hall.
You had it good, Doc. Don't worry. We're going to be all right.
No problem. Bob. No problem.
The ring doctor is taking a look.
I got it all set. Yeah.
But the cut appears no worse than it did
Put your
earlier.
head back. Back. All the way back.
You're a bit desperate, and you're laying back and taking it easy. You can't take it easy with this guy. You gotta keep the pressure on this guy. You gotta move your hand. All you gotta do is throw the combination. You gotta put 2, 3, 4 punches together. You understand me? You understand what I'm saying?
He won't be there if you still in with something. He's not going to be there. One more round. Let's go. And you will not charge, you're not nothing. One more round, he's not there, baby. Come
on, second down.
And so we start the 5th round, and Tyson is right on his man. Kevin Rooney exhorting him to throw 2 or 3 punch combinations.
Come on.
A little swelling under the right eye of Tyrell Biggs as well right now.
Take a step back. Good.
I don't know if Tyrell's going to recognize himself when he wakes up tomorrow morning.
I don't know what that was a second ago by Tyrell Biggs. This is somewhat disappointing for Biggs' corner because he has more talent than what he's showing tonight. The left hooks has been consistent and very, very accurate with Mike Tyson.
But they're there for good reason, right?
Well, Tyson, because look what you have in front of you. The fact that Biggs is not doing what he worked on. He just forgot about his game plan, totally abandoned it. Mike Tyson, he's doing what he does best. Work the body, work the head.
Simple fact is, and I don't think you have to be a boxing expert, Tyrell Biggs is dropping his right hand, and he's just leaving himself completely open for the left hook.
Well, I think this is a good education for the public because the fans at home, because they're seeing what should not be done against a fighter like a Mike Tyson, or any boxer, or puncher rather, in particular. You have to be consistent, keep those hands out.
And again, that cut over the left eye has opened up. There is a swelling under the right eye that has a lot of blood right below the surface of the skin also.
What Biggs has to do, he has to work something out, which is actually the left jab to break that rhythm and stop the momentum of Mike Tyson. He continues, Barry, to allow Mike to dominate.
And again, bleeding from the mouth as he has been since the first round. Not a pretty sight.
He subjects himself, Biggs does, to standing toe-to-toe and being actually a punching bag.
Let him
This way, you'll probably see more knots and bruises because Tyson is hard. Good body shot by Mike Tyson.
And remember, the doctor was in Tyrell Biggs' corner and looked long and hard at that cut in the last round, and you're going to see him again. Tyson hit on a break that time.
I'm telling both of us, it's a boxing match, not a wrestling match. When I say break, you don't break, understood? You understand, Mike? Joe? Let's go.
That cut looks even uglier. I'm sure the doctor will look at it.
Bloody Friday.
You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You know that's
It's better than others. You guys got it. Now look, don't get into this shit.
This guy can't punch, can't do nothing out there.
Now listen. All right, but look. Hey.
No, you gotta break clean, man.
Tell him.
And keep your hands up when this guy's. Don't trust the guy. Now look.
Keep your head.
Are you all right?
Harold Letterman, our unofficial official. How do you score the fight?
Well, Larry, I've got it 49-46. Mike Tyson, 4-1 in rounds. Based on a 4 points that we score, it's very simple to score. Mike Tyson's just been the effective aggressor, the harder hitter, and he's dominating at this point.
This guy's trying. Okay. You understand? But don't let the guy see you running around the fucking area. Come on, this guy's hurt.
Lou Duba is doing everything possible to inspire Biggs. He said as he left the ring, you hurt him, you hurt him.
Get back, please. Get back.
That is wishful thinking.
It's over set. All right, break. Come on, step back, please. Charles, step back. I'll take the point away.
And Biggs holding on a great deal now. There was a right hand by Tyson. And another.
Biggs, you have to say, he takes a good shot, but this was not necessary. I mean, I figured that Biggs would use that height, that reach, and his ring generalship to make this fight a little easier for him. Instead, he abandoned his tactics, his strategy he worked on in the gym, and select to fight Mike Tyson's fight. I love those body shots there. It weakens a fighter. It takes away his legs, so you won't see that much movement from Tyrell Biggs. And what Mike wants him to be is a stationary target.
Tyson has fought an excellent fight so far.
I
admit that Biggs has let him fight an excellent fight, but Tyson's been very sharp.
Well, I like Tyson because now he's putting his combinations together. He's not loading up anymore.
And he's also showing a lot more patience. He was a guy who would just get in there and go for the quick kill and try to do it, generally speaking, with one punch.
You know what's happening here? Actually, Biggs is just wearing down, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. It's like chopping a tree down. It's the same principle. He's wearing, Mike Tyson's wearing his man down. And the way you can tell this, Burr, is the fact you notice this very seldom does Biggs retaliate. Very seldom you see Biggs come back with a combination of his own.
Break. No punching. Let him out. Let him out, Charles. Let him go. Come on, Charles. Let him go and take the point away now. Get back.
These two, of course, go back a long way, all the way back to amateur days. Another left hand, and there's a great shot. Biggs is in trouble.
Yeah. The way it looks now, Biggs is like a defeated warrior now. He's been pounded on for 5 rounds. And he's slowly but surely wearing down. His legs don't look steady. Tyson's getting stronger.
And Biggs is just holding on.
Well, that made the bettors happy, if nothing else, because Tyrell Biggs has lasted 6 rounds. They say that Tyson is predictable, but so is a hurricane. What can you do about it?
Well, here's something that hasn't been predictable the last couple of weeks because of the football strike, but Inside the NFL will now be back because the strike has been, and I'll put it in quotes, settled. Your hosts, Len Dawson and Nick Bonacani. It's right here on HBO, Thursdays at 11.
More sevens, like you're doing. More sevens, more sevens. That 6 was beautiful. Let's see, 6-5-1, 6-5-2-1. Get to the side. Play with this guy now. You understand me? This guy's got nothing. Give him the feint, like you did before. Give him the feint. Give him a feint. Step to the side. 5.
You're taking the best he's got. So what the hell's wrong with you? 5 back.
Come on, this guy's gone.
Now listen,
come on, you're better fighter than him.
5 from your chin, though. The guy can't fight inside. So if you got no legs, fight him inside if you got to.
Those numbers you heard were a fight combination. Customato, the mentor of Mike Tyson, used to put numbers on the different fight combinations, and Kevin Rooney is Tyson's disciple.
I heard something interesting in Big's corner. Benton told him, his trainer said, if your legs are gone, stand there and fight him. Stand toe-to-toe and fight him. So apparently the legs of Tyrell Biggs are shot because you don't see movement.
He hasn't had movement actually for past 2 or 3 rounds. And just to further that point, in the last round, our punch stat figures Tyrell Biggs threw 15 punches, Ray.
Again, like I said earlier, Barry, he's just wearing down. You can appreciate, especially from ringside, those body attacks by Mike Tyson. I mean, he gets his whole body, a lot of leverage. I am surprised that I've not seen that many uppercuts from Tyrell Biggs.
Now, that was his game plan. I mean, that was something he said he had to do.
All right, break. No punching. Let him go, Charles. Come on, let him go. Take the corner away from him. All right, break. No punching. Step back clean. Let him go, Charles. Let him go. Step back. Good.
Uncut, incidentally, at least for the last couple of rounds, has not shown any more blood.
Hold it. Let him out. Let him out.
It appears to me that Biggs was trying to time Tyson with the counter right. I noticed when Tyson comes in, Biggs tried to stand his ground and throw a right hand.
Step back. Let him go, Charles. Let him go.
So now that tells me that Biggs is pretty much falling to the same trap as Mike Tyson, trying for one punch.
And he's never, there's a right hand that just caught Biggs off balance.
Biggs is covering up a lot of times unnecessarily and just trying to protect himself.
Biggs, of course, has never been known as a guy who could put a man away with one punch. He dropped Snipes with a good right hand, but he didn't put him away.
The elbow there from Tyson. Kevin Rooney was telling Tyson, get a couple head feints. Oh, that punch.
That was a tremendous left hand.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay?
Oh, this is it.
He is gone right now. He has no legs at all. And 10 seconds to go in a round. There's a left hand. He's down again. It's over. It's all over. And it wasn't even close.
And what we've seen has happened so often, in which a fighter after a few rounds starts to hang on to Tyson, that we have to say it's Tyson's credit. He's the one who makes it happen. He makes it happen with his pressure, and no matter what an opponent's plan is, that plan disintegrates like a broken piece of crockery when it's faced with that kind of pressure. There's no way to practice for that. I pointed out in the past, it's like trying to, how do you practice to hit Nolan Ryan's fastball or Boris Becker's serve? Where do you get the practice for that?
You don't. It's that simple. Let's take a look at the first knockdown. It was a left hand and a big one, and I feel like I'm being redundant with that, but he hit him with many big left hands, Ray.
Well, look at the right hand of Tyrell Biggs. It's down, and the left hook has been landing from round 1. But the first minute or two of round 1, Biggs is doing his job, boxing. Now he becomes a stationary target. That toe-to-toe tactics proved wrong against David Bay, which he subsequently was cut. And now the same thing happened. So all we had was actually a replay of what took place. Here, Mike Tyson just wears his man down with beautiful short left hook.
It was really more his legs than anything else. He was just kind of off balance, had his legs together, just never really got it together. Here's the final knockdown now.
No, I think it's the power and the fact that Mike Tyson actually wore his man down.
One more look at the end for Tyrell Biggs.
And Barry, let me say this for you and Larry. There is a way to stop a guy coming in, and it's with a jab. You got to work on jabs, angles, and combinations.
Yeah, and Ray, he did it for 1 round. That was it.
But that was his fault, Barry. He forgot. He just gave up, and we just abandoned the tactics that would have been effective.
Now, that's what I mean. As a matter of fact, and I don't mean to just blow smoke at you because you did it, but you were the only person I've ever seen start with a fight plan and stay with a fight plan and just not get away from it.
Well, that's what is required against a guy with the kind of heart, determination, power of Mike Tyson. You got to be consistent.
Let's get the official decision now from Michael Buffer. Mike?
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at 2 minutes, 59 seconds of the 7th round. The winner, still the undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson!
Right now, Larry Merchant trying to make his way over to the champion, and I believe he is. Let's go to Larry right now with Mike Tyson. Larry?
And I'm with Mike Tyson, who first administered a paint job and then sort of wrecked the whole house. Mike, he looked very impressive in the first round, looking like Ali, the way he moved and jabbed. What were your thoughts at that point, and then how did you attack him to stop that?
Well, in my mind, I knew this was 15 rounds, and I was prepared to put the pressure on him constantly for 15 rounds. You know, I was having a great time in there. I felt good. I was in the best condition of my life, and I did what I was supposed to do.
Well, tell me, what did you think in that first round when he was moving, trying to do an Ali with his left?
I knew when I came to this fight, I was the best fighter in the world, and not a man alive that can beat me.
What broke him down? Was it just
constantly body punches? When I was hitting him with body punches, and I heard him, actually, he was crying in there, making woman gestures like, I can't find him, but I knew that he was breaking down soon.
You're saying that Biggs was crying when you hit him?
Yes.
When did that happen?
And perhaps the 4th round on.
So that you knew you had him by that time?
Absolutely, but I knew he was tough in there taking those punches.
Was this your most satisfying fight in the sense of the way you went about it patiently and businesslike, not getting excited, not trying to take him out with one punch?
Well, I was very calm, and I was thinking about Roberto Duran, how he used to cut down the runners and just wear them down, and I had that frame of mind when I was in the ring.
All right, Mike, let's take a look at the first knockdown, and would you describe what was happening?
Well, I was in there looking for the punch, boom, and I knew it would come. But when he threw a punch, his hand opened a little, and I thought I could slip a punch right in there.
Were you trying to work on his cut early on because he was pretty bloody?
No, I wasn't even thinking about the cut. I was just hitting to the body, softening him up.
So that from then on, you really feel that it was inevitable after the first few rounds?
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, we hear now that you're going to fight Larry Holmes next. Why Larry Holmes?
Well, I don't have any say-so in the matter. I was just a fighter, and I'll defend my title against any man in the world. If I was you, I'd talk to Jim Jacobs about that.
Do you want to fight Larry Holmes?
I'll fight any man in the world because I believe there's no one in this planet that can beat me.
Okay, then let me ask Jimmy Jacobs, the co-manager of Mike, why do you want to fight Larry Holmes next?
Well, the reason is that I would say that 90% of the world thought that Larry Holmes beat Michael Spinks the last time they fought. In fact, Larry, of 46 newspaper men polled after the fight, 42 men of the 46 voted for Larry Holmes in the last fight with Michael Spinks. Larry is sitting at home feeling that he's the champion, and that's the reason we're going to fight him.
But he did lose his last 2 fights. He hasn't fought in a good long while. A lot of people are saying, what is this, some kind of an antique show? Or is this in the best or worst traditions of boxing, fighting these kinds of fights?
I don't think it's either in the worst or best traditions of boxing. Boxing history is replete with 27 heavyweight champions attempting to regain the title. However, the champion we're talking about, Larry Holmes, was defeated by a split decision in his last fight against Michael Spinks, where everyone, even you, Larry, everyone, including you, thought that Larry Holmes won the fight.
Okay, then what about Michael Spinks? That is the most attractive fight out there, according to everyone, and you can jump in here, too, Phil Caton. What about Michael Spinks, and why aren't you going to take him on next or right after next or whenever?
Whenever we're ready to, we make our plans for that. We haven't made our plans to take on Michael Spinks because a fight with Michael Spinks, which is a pay-per-view, closed-circuit fight, takes a minimum of 5 months, during which time Mike would not fight. Mike wants to fight more frequently.
So you're saying now you will fight Michael Spinks eventually?
I would say this, that Michael Spinks is definitely in our future. Definitely in our future, but not in our immediate future.
Let me put it this way. If you have been saying that you have a lot of fights planned, that you have told various people you're going to fight their man, what about going in there and saying, we'll fight you winner take all, or winner take almost all. We'll give $1 million to the loser and $20 million to the winner. Would you fight Spinks under those circumstances?
Under the circumstances, if he would take $1 million, yes.
Deal, yes.
Or you take $1 million.
Yes, we would fight Michael Spinks on the basis that the loser takes $1 million and the winner take the rest. Yes, we would do that.
That's one way of making the deal.
Yeah, that would be one way of making the deal quick.
You sound pretty confident. And let's see what Barry and Ray think about that one.
If he's going to do that shit, then I'm going to do it.
All right, thanks very much, Larry Merchant and Mike Tyson. And here's a couple of special guests dropping through the camera shots here. And I'm with a guy who you just spoke about a little bit. And no, he's not at home watching this one. He's right here watching this one. Larry Holmes, the former champion. And Larry, let me ask you first of all the obvious. Is there a deal for you to fight Mike Tyson?
Yes, it's a deal. There's a few things that we have to work out yet, but it's a deal, you know. I'm ready to go in there with Mike sometime in January, whatever day they want, and hope it's going to be on HBO because I want the world to be able to see it. And out of this fight, I hope it's such thing as fairness. Last time I didn't get it, and I complained about it. The world's seen it. Now I hope once they see it once more, it's fairness. I'm going to knock this guy out.
What did you see in here tonight? What did you see that you feel that you can do that Tyrell Biggs didn't?
Well, first of all, I'm a boxer. My jab is stronger. I got a good right hand, and I can hook it. One thing I've seen, Tyson makes a lot of mistakes. And if he fights me dirty, that's what kind of fight it's going to be all night. Because I didn't see a class of fight. I didn't see a guy that with class in there tonight. I seen a guy that throws elbows. I seen a guy that throws butt. I seen a guy that hits after the bell. I seen all of this in Mike Tyson. I didn't see a gentleman in there. If they want to make him out of a beast that he's claimed to be, he's going to be in there with a beast. I'm an experienced professional fighter. I am no kid. I do not play. So if he wants to fight any way he wants to fight, I am capable of fighting any way anybody want to fight.
Everybody says movement. That's the way to beat him. Everybody agrees that's the way to beat him, and yet I've seen 4 or 5 guys get in here and just not be able to do it, even though they know how to do it.
Well, first of all, it's a different kind of movement. It's a running kind like he was doing in the first round. He got out there, he ran. Not really running, using the jab. He was doing very well. And then when he tried to settle down, it was a little bit too late. What you do is take his momentum right away. You got to demand the respect. And you can't demand respect if you don't have a good left hand. That's something that I got at 37, which soon will be 38 years old. And the thing about it, after this fight, people are saying, Larry Holmes, why? They won't say that anymore after this because I know what I'm doing.
Let me ask you, the obvious question is to ask you about the layoff, but I asked this guy behind me about the layoff too, and he came back, and of course he beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler. But what about Larry Holmes' layoff?
Well, I tell you, sometimes the layoff is the best thing for you. As you know, I was fighting 4 or 5 times out of a 12-month period. Sometimes that wear and tear on your body, and sometimes you need a good rest. I think the rest probably helped me more by not going to the gym every day, not getting up in the morning every day. I think that rest helped me pretty much. And now it made me, I got that desire again to go out there one more time to show the people who the real heavyweight champion is and give it back to the dogs.
You might be the first grandfather to ever win a heavyweight championship.
No doubt about it. If I didn't think I was going to win, Barry, I wouldn't even get in this ring. I don't need the money. HBO know I don't need the money. I'm very rich with what I have, and I'm happily married, and I'm just going to keep on doing what I want to do. This fight came up as an opportunity to get back something that they took away from me. I mean, the world know it, Michael Spinks know it, and you know it, and HBO know it. And I got a chance now to do it one more time to get it back, and I'm going to take full advantage of it.
All right, Larry, thank you, and we want to see that fight. Let me ask the man here. Don King has joined us here. Don, is there a name on a contract and a date for this fight? Is it going to happen, and if so, when?
It's going to happen, Barry, and it's going to happen in January. The new year will be brought in with a return to glory and giving Larry an opportunity to recapture the glory of yesteryear. When I went down to talk to him about fighting, he put on a 15-round exhibition and was stupendous. A guy who did all of the tough things that a fight has to do with the rigorous schedule, and he demonstrated to me by no uncertain indication that he's ready, and he's going to be in that ready to fight on 20 January.
And what happened, Don King told me it was only a 12-round fight, so I did 3 extra rounds when I didn't have to.
Well, you look good. I got to say, you look good. Thanks to both of you. But it's etched in stone.
HBO, the network of champions,
HBO
is in for a treat for all of his viewers.
It's in for a treat.
No, he's in for a surprise.
He's in for a treat.
It's a shock.
We'll be back to the Bickersons right after this. In the meantime, let's get back up to Larry Merchant. Larry?
Before this fight, Tyrell Biggs said of Mike Tyson that he reminded him of the powerful dinosaurs whose power couldn't keep them from becoming extinct. The problem is it took a couple of 100 million years for that to happen, and it takes about an hour to make Mike Tyson extinct, and nobody around looks like they can do it. There are a lot of potential opponents out there, but really the only guy that I know of who could do in Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. To put it another way, why would you train as hard when you're rich and famous and pretty girls want to touch you as you did when you were poor and unknown and they all thought you were ugly? So as Linda Ellaby would say, and so it goes. Barry?
All right, thanks very much, Ray Leonard. Ray Leonard. That was Larry Merchant. This is Ray Leonard. All guys in tuxedos look alike. Ray, let me ask you, first of all, your impression of the fight. Personal feeling, that was as good as I've seen Mike Tyson look.
Well, George Benton came over to me and said that, well, a guy can't fight, referring to Mike Tyson. And I asked him, I said, what happened with the strategy of Tyrell Biggs? He says he's going to the back to find out what was wrong with him. Mike Tyson fought an excellent fight, a magnificent fight. He worked the body, slowed his man down, and every opportunity, Barry, he saw, took advantage of it. The right hand down of Biggs, left